Imagine you're halfway through a story and suddenly your listener looks confused. The flow of your narrative has been disrupted not by what you said, but by how you said it. Now, picture this happening during a high stakes exams like IELTS, CELPIP, or PTE. You're confident in your ideas, but inconsistent tenses cause your message to stumble, leaving your examiner uncertain and your score at risk. Let's say you're taking the IELTS speaking exam. The examiner asks you to describe a memorable trip. You start confidently. Last year, I traveled to Paris. The city was amazing and I enjoy every moment there. But notice the shift. You begin in the past tense, travel, was, but then suddenly switch to present tense, enjoy. This inconsistency can confuse the examiner and disrupt the flow of your response, making it harder for them to follow your narrative and assess your language proficiency accurately. Therefore, you should have used the simple past tense form of enjoy, that is, enjoyed, to sound right. That would be something like, last year I traveled to Paris. The city was amazing and I enjoyed every moment there. By keeping your tenses consistent, you provide a clear and coherent answer, which helps the examiner focus on your fluency and vocabulary rather than getting distracted by grammatical errors. This small change can make a big difference in your overall score. Before we dive into some common tense errors, make sure you subscribe to VLTS-CELPIP for more tips like these. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. Now that we have highlighted the importance of maintaining tense consistency, let's dive into practical tips and strategies that will help you master this essential skill, ensuring your writing and speaking are clear, coherent, and exam ready. In exams like IELTS, CELPIP, or PTE, tense errors are common and can significantly impact a candidate's score. Here are some of the most frequent tense-related mistakes. Number one, shifting tenses mid-sentence or paragraph. This occurs when a candidate starts a sentence or paragraph in one tense and then shifts to another without a logical reason, disrupting the clarity and flow of the writing or speaking. For example, he was studying for the test when he hears the loud noise. Here we have inconsistent shift from past to present tense. So we could say he was studying for the test when he heard a loud noise. Number two is the incorrect use of present perfect tense. Many learners struggle with the present perfect tense, particularly when deciding whether to use it or the past simple tense. The present perfect is used to describe actions that have relevance to the present moment or started in the past and continue into the present. For example, I have finished the project yesterday. This is incorrect because yesterday specifies a past time requiring the past simple. And the correct version of this sentence would be something like, I finished the project yesterday. Number three is confusing past simple and past continuous. Candidates sometimes mix up past simple for completed actions and past continuous for actions in progress at a specific time in the past. For example, I was reading the book when the phone rang and I was answering it. The action of answering should be in past simple. So the correct sentence would be, I was reading the book when the phone rang and I answered it. Number four, using present tense for historical facts. Historical facts and events that happened in the past should be described using the past tense, but some learners mistakenly use the present tense. For example, in 1776, the United States declared independence, but the correct form is in 1776, the United States declared independence. Number 5 is overusing the future tense. Overusing the future tense when discussing plans or predictions can sometimes lead to awkward or unclear sentences, particularly when the future's simple, like will, is used where another tense might be more appropriate. For example, I will go to the store later and I will be buying some groceries. That is redundant future tense. So the correct form is I will go to the store later to buy some groceries. Finish. Number 6 is misusing the conditional tense. Conditional sentences often trip up learners, especially when it comes to correctly matching the tense in the if clause with the tense in the main clause. For example, if I will study harder, I would pass the exam. Incorrect mix of future and conditional tenses happened here. So the correct form would be, if I study harder, I will pass the exam. Number 7 is using present tense for future events. While it is possible to use the present tense for future events in certain contexts, for example, scheduled events, many learners incorrectly apply it when they should use the future tense. For example, the train leaves tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. While technically correct in some contexts, it's clearer to use the future tense for exam situations. For example, the train will leave tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Number 8 is incorrect use of past perfect. The past perfect tense is used to describe actions that were completed before another past action, but learners often misuse it, especially by using it when it is not needed. For example, by the time I arrived, he had left, which is a correct sentence, versus I had finished my homework before I watched TV. Past perfect is not needed, is not necessary in this example, versus the correct one. I finished my homework before I watched TV. Number 9 is errors with the passive voice. The passive voice often causes tense issues, particularly when the auxiliary verbs like is, was, has been, etc. doesn't match the main verb in tense. For example, which is wrong, the project is completed yesterday, mixing present and past. The correct sentence would be the project was completed yesterday. Number 10 is not matching tenses in reported speech. When reporting what someone said, learners often forget to backshift the tense if the reporting verb is in the past. For example, she said she is going to the store. And the correct sentence would be, she said she was going to the store. These tense errors are common across various English proficiency exams and can significantly impact your performance. To avoid these pitfalls and boost your exam scores, make sure to practice regularly and stay consistent with your tenses. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are also preparing for exams. And please don't forget to subscribe to VLTS-CELPIP for more tips, strategies, and practice sessions to help you ace your exam. See you in the next video. Until then,